her favorite prayers, and we offer it now as we ask God for peace for her. Adonai, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are like a passing shadow. We come and go like grass which in the morning shoots up renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to turn to dust then. Return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going, for when we die we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted, and behold the upright. They shall have peace. For those of you for whom the 23rd Psalm is familiar, I invite you to join with me in its recitation. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
El Harachamon, sweet God, you've taken a beloved friend. We gather with friends as they grieve in a darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation, in their tears loneliness. But Karen's love united them and all of us in life. Death cannot sever that. Her companionship shared along life's path, this continues now through the tenderness of memory. Her heart, her mind, her presence have been precious to us. For all these and more, we are grateful. But in this time of grief, we listen for the voice within, a voice prompting us to a sense of purpose, a voice reminding us that we cannot precisely explain why it is that Karen died, but we can explain how much it means to us that she lived, and that she lived with hope, that she lived with a sense of affirmation. Oh God, be now with her stricken family. Help them draw near to one another and their need for love and strength. Teach us to place our arms about them and to sorrow with them. Be with the mourners in their grief until hope breaks through like a bud in a dark corner of the earth. Amen. It is terribly ironic. Karen would have hated the fact that the rabbi was late. Anyone who knows her knows how punctual Karen was. Right on time, by which I mean 15 minutes early. Present, accounted for. I was having printing problems, of course, none of which were rectified. But I have to acknowledge, she'd want me to do better. And we can all do better and emulate what her punctuality meant. It wasn't about scolding us. It was about enjoying and appreciating the time that she had with us and with others. Author Kim Forrester shares the following meditation for a moment such as this. She writes, "This is the time tradition says we must stand and sing praises, that we are to share tales of achievements and weep at fond memories. But what good are pleasantries and platitudes when written for someone we may not have known as well, when they speak of a potential that may never have been realized in their lifetime? A life worth of speaking is not always one of inspiration or success. There is dignity, though, in the struggle of being human. Unfathomable strength in rising to endure each day when days are not always steeped in hope and promise. And there is authentic beauty in a life that can also be tangled, complicated. So we will not patronize Karen today with words of joy. We will render her visible to us. Her presence, her way of living among us, dear to us. We will stand here in the space allowed to us on this rainy morning, honoring the person Karen was able to be. We will dignify her in the life she had the capacity to live, and the ways that she touched us in raw, in real, and painful, and in complicated ways. Friends, there's more to the meditation from Miss Forrester, but none of it seems to apply as well to Karen's life as those first few assertions. Karen would hate that we had to gather for such sadness. She loved to make others happy and be part of the squad of well-wishers when a person was celebrating a birthday milestone or a holiday or any kind of special achievement. Her life's path was not simple. It was difficult. It was hard to break through and feel accepted and be rewarded for all of her efforts and interests. Though the subject never came up between us, as one of her clergy at Fairmount Temple, I know because she exposed her thoughts and her conscience and her perspective to me, that she'd agree that this funeral today doesn't seem like something that was supposed to be. Her dear and loving mom, Eileen, is not supposed to see her daughter's casket. It's always backwards. It doesn't matter the circumstance. A parent's never supposed to ask themselves, what am I supposed to wear? Who will be at home afterwards after my child's funeral? Now, I've known Karen the entire journey she took from 45 to 60, which may seem like a small portion of her life. In a way it is. But these have been important years to Karen. These have been years lived in raw, real, painful, complicated, but also joyful and dignified and human ways. Everything about Karen that she knew before became all the more realized in these last 15 years. She is not easy to describe. She was humanly vulnerable, perfectly imperfect. She loved being a cousin to her cousins, a daughter to her parents, a sister to her brothers, an aunt to her precious niece Libby, and a part of a community of regulars at favorite places to eat all over the east side of Cleveland, taking in the sights and sounds, especially enjoying this season. I'm told that it was during her 40s that Karen went back to college, finishing well, something she had started long ago at a time of tremendous vulnerability, completing undergraduate studies nearby here at Ursuline College. It was in her early 50s that Karen and her siblings and their mom began to see how the complications of Parkinson's brought her late father Mort, who had always been a stirring and incredible force to be reckoned with in her world and in ours, to a more vulnerable and frail presence, not resembling his previous intensity and passion. Karen took time during the final months of her dad's life and well into the initial period of mourning after he died to reflect on her precious relationship with him. She appreciated the way that coming and being part of our temple's community of regulars at worship felt embracing. She wasn't shy about reaching out to one of our rabbis at the time, Jordana Chernow-Reeder, who now serves at a sister community to us in Indianapolis. I spoke with Rabbi Chernow-Reeder yesterday and informed her about Karen's death. She not only asked me to convey her sympathies to the Hoicowitz family, she said that she treasured her time as one of Karen's rabbis. She remembers how Karen opened up to her about how much meaning she found in being able, alongside her siblings and her mom, to give back to Mort what he had given to her in his final chapters of life. Rabbi Chernow-Reeder also praised Karen's incredible kindness, her effusive and hopeful presence, her sense of connection to Jewish community, her pride in being part of the team. Karen was born 60 years and 3 weeks ago, April 10th, 1964, the youngest of the 3 Hoicowitz children. She loved connecting as well to the Gertie family relatives and could be counted on to preciously remember every last person in her family's special birthdays, be one of the first people on that day to make it their business to call them and wish them happiness. Karen grew up with incredibly strong habits for schooling, a brightness, aptitude, and curiosity that helped her do well, not just in secular studies, but at temple. She had her bat mitzvah with Rabbi Lelyveld in 1977 and was proud to be among her siblings in achieving Jewish learning of consequence and meaning. She graduated from Beechwood High School in 1982 proudly. She enjoyed athletics, in particular tennis, but not for school teams, just for her own enjoyment. One of the things we can smile about today is that among the special things Karen was able to achieve in her lifetime is something that pretty much everyone I know shared with her. Maybe not physically in her presence, but her last birthday happened just around the same time as we all experienced a once in a lifetime, seeing a total solar eclipse. She had a great time that day, enjoying that spectacle and the family meal at the Burntwood Tavern on Lander. Enjoying nature or a spectacular view of something as wonder-filled as an eclipse, connecting with family, and eating out a delicious birthday celebratory meal. That's kind of a Karen Hoicowitz trifecta. I know that piece about eating and dinner to lunch not because I'm a rabbi, but because I live on the east side of Cleveland. So I'm one of many people who ran into Karen at Geraci's, Jack's, or her regular trips to Corky's. Any of the long-standing restaurants on the east side that have been institutions over the past decades. It was a treat to her to enjoy a special meal out and really enjoy tasting her favorite dishes, taking joy in them. Karen would tell me in recent months that she really missed our temple's Ongay Shabbat from before COVID that often included a full meal. This was a creature of habit, raised by parents who similarly had favorite spaces, places, habitual places to enjoy, ritualized, loving meals, hopeful experiences, and only occasionally breaking from those routines. Karen and Michael and Bradley's dad, Mort, had been raised in a household by a dad who had multiple responsibilities and many hours out of the home managing a store that he owned. And while there is no doubt everyone admired and felt a sense of connection to their grandfather's strong work ethic, the Mort that was involved in partnering with Eileen in the upbringing of Karen and her brothers was a clear and present father in their life. Eileen had a true partnered presence in engaging and looking after the children, and in his high involvement as a dad, his accessibility to her was a precious gift to Karen, especially during what at times were difficult years in grade school or middle school. Connecting and friendly and open as Karen was, kids aren't always friendly in return. When they might give Karen a cold shoulder, she looked for warmth, and she found it leaning on her parents and taking in the joy of making a smaller group of friends and taking several family vacations, enjoying childhood family trips to Disney World, Washington, D.C., Colonial Williamsburg, Niagara Falls. Brad was telling me about a special time that he and his sister bonded while they participated together in a research study at the NIH campus in the greater D.C. area, staying at a Bethesda, Maryland hotel together, helping explore in the study the way that mental health issues, various family concerns over mental health, relate in the case of siblings. It was an involved study. It took effort and time, energy. It wasn't simple. But Karen, Brad, and Michael each care very much about these topics and wanted to contribute to the betterment of the quality of life for people suffering with various mental illnesses and living with various fault lines and frailties. Karen's diagnosis, schizophrenia, could have been something from which family or personally might be in denial. So many people in our culture do remain that way about mental illness. But that's not how this family operates. In addition to contributing their attention and time as subjects for research, Eileen would offer workshops for parents with children as young kids or young adults had recently received a troubling diagnosis to help families sort out their feelings and address the needs right in front of them, channel their loving attention. Michael says that when new concerns in mental health on topics confused Karen, she didn't perseverate on that. She would go out to the library and do research on it. She always found something new to learn, and her brother admired always her attention to such details and her taking opportunities to learn. I know that for Karen, being in the care of a loving, caring social worker, Deborah Isaac Shapiro brought her comfort, kindness, a place to process challenges. I know the family is very grateful to Deborah and to many others who helped direct Karen to good care and medicines that, while from time to time may have caused challenges, largely helped her life be more positive, thoughtful, caring, and resilient. It's with that idea of resilience that I wish to kind of conclude my remarks. The American Psychological Association idealizes resilience as the process of adapting well to adversity, to threats, and distress. Harvard University psychologist George Vaillant suggests resilience can be understood as a twig with a fresh, green, living core that springs back and continues to grow even after encountering pressure. Rabbi Deborah Waxman writes that in Judaism writ large, resilience across the span of our history is that even after we've experienced difficulties and even catastrophes, we've survived. The previous paradigms by which we had lived were just inoperable. We no longer knew how to understand ourselves in relationship to God or to other people. But we did. We found a way. This is a recurring theme in the teachings that we've shared, especially in recent years and months and weeks, actually, at Fairmont Temple. It's something that I know fascinated Karen, because 5 years ago today, literally today, Eileen and Karen and I were getting off a plane at Ben Gurion Airport. 12 years ago, we had just concluded, Eileen and Mort and I, a similar journey in Israel. I remember seeing Karen gaze with wonder at the landscapes of Israel, but fascinated all the more so by the resilience of its people, what they had been through, paying close attention to the narrative of stories shared by our guide, contributing thoughtfully and presently, because that's just who she was, and occasionally giving her mother a hard time, which she didn't regret in the least. Karen could be strong-minded and sometimes difficult. Eileen knew exactly the keys to open the door and when to walk away from the door. Karen was a very special human being, and anyone within the sound of my ears now, or those who are connecting via streaming or seeing this service at a later time, will remember in her a joyful, dignified, friendly, human being. Rabbinic sages in the Talmud said, "B'makom she'ein anashim," in a situation that confounds humanity, "Hishtadel lehiyot ish," strive to be a human. Karen, you did good. You're a good human being, and you'll be missed. And this community is bereft at your loss, but we promise to live up to your ideals today, tomorrow, and all the tomorrows to come. Amen.
Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, Gamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, Gamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, Gamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim.
Dear friends, as we draw closer to the conclusion of our service here at Graveside, you surely know how much your presence means to Karen's family. They, after the conclusion of our interment, which will occur in just a moment, will receive friends at the Hoicowitz residence at 107 Fox Hollow Court. Today, following services until 3 p.m. This evening, the family, as I understand, will be with us at Shabbat services at Fairmont Temple, which begin at 6:15 and do so on a weekly basis. And I invite you, of course, if you wish, to continue to pray in memoriam and sympathy with them. Friends who wish to honor Karen's life are invited to contribute to NAMI-GreaterCleveland.org. The Berkowitz website lists the website, and or Jewish Family Service Association of Cleveland contributing to DACA, giving goodness out in Karen's name seems to be a perfect way to memorialize. And in addition, if you're looking for just a simple human gesture, think now of people in your lives whom you know who might be struggling, who may be dealing with mental health issues or anxiety or in some kind of pain. In remembrance of Karen, get closer, lean in, support them, and reach out. This will be a loving tribute to Karen's way of living and will echo the way she felt grateful for being cared for by you during her life. In just a moment, we're going to conclude with the Kaddish praise, and when we do, I'll signal for you to rise, after which, after we offer the Kaddish praise, we will invite you to succeed the family as they may wish in spreading a small amount of earth and giving Karen this kindness as we participate together in her burial. Okay, so those of you who are seated, I invite you to please rise, but do so carefully, because it's not easy in those seats. Somebody else just hold the seat. It's actually the seat that's more difficult. The boys will get mommed, but the seats sometimes will lift up a bit. There we go.
רחמים שוכן במרומי המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר רקיע מזהירים את נשמת מרים בת מרדכי ואסתר שהלכה לעולמה על הרחמים יסתרה בסתר גנביו לעולמים יצרו חיים את נשמתו אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום על משכבה ונאמר אמן. God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Karen Hoicowitz, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say,
Just leave Kaddish for me.
in gratitude and humility, we join together in the words hallowed by generations of our people in the Kaddish praise. Yitkada, v'yitkadash, b'nei rabba, v'amad yitrach irutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayei ton u'vyom echon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman karim, v'imur. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevarach, Le'olam Olmei Amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, Yifa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei Kedusha v'yichun, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechemata, Da'amiran v'oma v'imur. Amen. Yehei Shalama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Roha U'ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to we who mourn, and comfort our bereavement, as together we say, Amen.